everyone, it's Ben Hardy here, and today we're going to be going over the all-new 2019 Nissan Altima, and this one has the all-wheel drive. First and foremost, a big shout out and thank you to Tim Daly Nissan in Murray. They are providing us with this vehicle to review today, so if you are on the market for a Nissan, definitely check these guys out. And then as always, we will do a quick walk around on the car, go over the features, then we'll take the Nissan Altima out for a drive to see how it drives. And then if you are stopping in for the first time, I would really appreciate it if you subscribed. Popping under the hood of the 2019 Nissan Altima, we're gonna see a 2.5 liter 4-cylinder engine. It's gonna be good for 182 horsepower and 178 pound-feet of torque. And that's all routed through a CVT transmission to all four wheels in this particular variant. And then fuel economy is gonna be 26 around town and 36 on the highway. Now to wrap things up on the front of the car, we have the LED accent lights that go basically right there. They've got the projector bulbs up front, little fog lights down below with your turn signals integrated right there. And you can see they've got really nice chrome accenting on the front of the grille. It kind of makes like a little bit of a smiley face. I like that with the Nissan logo, and the rest of the grille is actually blacked out. But the overall exterior design is definitely a little bit more aggressive, and I definitely like that. Now coming around to the side, we've got 17-inch alloy wheels in the front and in the back as well. And they've got these nice kind of like aluminum inserts on them that just look really nice with the design of the car, and especially with the red paint that this particular Altima is finished in. Now coming to the back, we will look at the key fob first. You can see at the top you have your remote start function. You've got your lock and unlock and your trunk release as well. So if you lock the car and then hold down on that remote start function, it'll take just a moment, but you'll see it'll pop on and you will hear that 2.5 liter come to life. And then if you press it again, it'll shut the car right off. The other function is a trunk release, so hold that down and that will pop open the trunk. You have to do the rest of the work yourself though to fully open it up right here. They give you this little net in the back. All the floor mats are back here since this is a new vehicle. You can fold down those rear seats if you need a little bit of extra storage, but this trunk's actually on the bigger side for a sedan, so there's plenty of storage space. And then you can see you've got your little jack and stuff all below there, but like I said, it's a good amount of trunk space, especially for the size of car that this is. Now this is a random point, but this is something that I really like about this Altima and the Altimas in general with this new generation, is they've hidden the backup camera, so it's right under here. But on most vehicles you can see the backup camera in the exterior and the back. This car you cannot, and so it's nice that they don't break up the lines and the design in the back of the car to, you know, put a backup camera. They integrated it without doing that. Now to wrap things up on the back, we've got these taillights, and they kind of wrap all the way around on the back right there. And then you have the dual exhaust, and you can see it kind of looks like a little bit of a rear diffuser down below. It's kind of funny that Nissan did that, but it looks pretty cool, so I'm into it. And then you do get some parking sensors down below as well. Now if we come around to the side here and open up the door, I'll just give you a view of the whole door panel there, but they've got some nice leather padding here, contrasted stitching, and then they've got this trim right here that kind of looks like carbon fiber with the window switch there, but the leather here actually feels really nice. It's very soft to touch. And then I'll give you a view of the rear seats here as well. So again, with that nice padded leather, and they've got a little bit of perforations in the center, but I just like the feel of this leather. It definitely feels very comfortable. You can see I've got the cup holders pulled out for the armrest. You do get vents here for the rear passengers, and then you get a couple of USBs down below on top of that so that the rear passengers can charge some things back here. But in terms of legroom, I actually have the chair where I'd have it, and so there is a good amount of legroom, so you could fit, you know, at least 2 people back here comfortably. The third passenger with that little hump, it's gonna get in the way, but it's not bad by any means. Now coming around to the front, you've got keyless entry, so one touch to lock it, and then you press the same button to unlock it. So it'll unlock right there. And then I'll give you a view of the front panel as well. And you can see you've got nice stitching again, just like in the back, with more of that padding and more stitching. And then they do the carbon fiber looking trim up front, more of the window controls, and then you've got your mirror adjustments down there. Now here we can look at the seats. We've got all of our controls for the seats. You've got your lumbar control right there. It is full power, and looking at this seat, you can see Definitely has a nice design to it, and they've got bolsters that'll somewhat hold you in place, but they're not too aggressive where it's uncomfortable. So if you are a little bit broader, you're still going to fit in these seats very comfortably, and they do more of the white contrasted stitching all throughout. Now we are going to step in, and step in height's actually pretty good. It's really easy to get in. It's not as easy to get in as an SUV, but for a sedan, definitely really good step in height actually. So to start up the 2019 Altima, all you have to do is put your foot on the brake and push the push start. The gauges will do a sweep and the Altima will start right up. So we're actually going to start with the controls over here. This is actually a steering assist control. So when you have your adaptive cruise control on, this steering assist will actually help you steer the car. You still have to put your hands on the steering wheel. It's going to, you know, beep at you if you don't. But it's nice that they give some self-autonomous driving tech with this car. And then you've got your regular trunk release right there. And then all the stuff with the trip computers. Now actually coming over to the steering wheel, this is your controls for your adaptive cruise control and then your voice commands and your phone commands right there. And then on the other side of the steering wheel, you're going to have your controls for the radio, and then you've got your controls here for the center screen. We will go over that momentarily. And if you're wondering what this button is, I waited to do that, but if you see here on the screen, it'll pop up, basically pops up with all of the safety tech right there. So it's just an easy shortcut button to get to that. Now coming onto the gauge cluster, you're going to have your RPMs over on this side over here. And then on the right side, you are going to have your gauge cluster for the speed, and then you have your fuel gauge down below. And then you have that center screen that I went over a little bit earlier, but this gives you basically any bit of information that you want on the car. So you can do radio, you can look at the safety tech, navigation, all that kind of stuff. You can see your fuel economy. You can even set it to be a speedo, but it's super configurable right in that little center screen. Well, I just happened to film at probably the worst time of day for looking at a touch screen because of all of the glare, but you have your analog buttons right down below for the touchscreen. And you can see here it also does function as a touchscreen as well, and it's super responsive touch time basically. And I always compare everything to an iPad, and that's just kind of like, that's like the industry standard. But I am going to hit on this like I hit on it with every single car that has both sets. I love that it has analog buttons, and then it also has buttons on the touchscreen, so that if I want to use a touchscreen or if I want to use analog buttons, I have both options. And then you do get your analog radio controls on the side of the touchscreen as well. Now if we pop the Altima into reverse, it'll pop up with a backup camera right there. And it's got little trajectory lines. It has a little trajectory that stays straight all the time, and it's got a little orange line that basically turns with the steering wheel. Now popping just below, we have all of our analog controls. It is dual zone climate, and so all of the controls are right there, and they've got a little screen for that. And then you do get heated seats and a heated steering wheel up front, so it's nice that they give you that luxury feature as well. Now just down below here, this is the shifter that you can see, and you've got all your different drive modes. They do give you a low as well, so if you're going down canyons and all that stuff, it'll make it a lot easier and you won't have to ride in your brakes. And then we've got our parking brake right here, and then you have auto hold, which I love, especially on some of these steep hills where we live here in Utah, and it's just nice to have it so that you don't have to worry about rolling back or anything like that. Now we can see here, this is the little center armrest. They've got stitching straight through the middle, and they've gave you a little shelf, and then there's some storage space down below. But I like the design of it, and it's definitely a comfortable place to leave your arm. Now if we come down here, this is the glove box right here. Owner's manuals are going to be in there, but there's a decent amount of storage space in there, and so definitely really easy and functional to use. If we look up above, we can see the sunroof. It's just a traditional sunroof. The controls for it are actually just right up here to open and close the sunroof. But that's just going to let a little bit of extra light into the cabin. Really, you don't need a panoramic sunroof in a car of this size. I think it's a little bit overkill to go for that, so regular sunroof is sufficient. And to wrap things up on the interior, I definitely like this interior. It definitely feels a little bit more upscale. The nice little wood trim they do, and they do soft touch throughout, and the stitching that you can see on all the door panels. And so in terms of the interior quality, it is definitely more high-end than the price point would suggest on a car like this. And now that we are done going over the features on the 2019 Altima, let's take it out for a drive quickly to see how it handles with this new all-wheel drive system. Setting off here in the 2019 Nissan Altima, and so far what I'm noticing is the car rides really, really smooth. Like, it is actually exceptionally smooth ride quality wise. In terms of sound into the cabin, it's actually really quiet. I'm not hearing a whole lot of road noise with this car, and I think that's due in part to the suspension, how smooth the suspension is, and so it just kind of floats along overall. Now, I know one of the biggest gripes with this car is going to be the CVT transmission. There hasn't been a whole lot of love for CVT transmissions, but this one shifts really smoothly, and it actually mimics like a traditional automatic enough that I'm not really noticing the difference between this and a regular torque converter automatic. And then in terms of handling, the steering on this car is really, really light, and so it's a very comfortable car to drive, and you don't have to put any really effort into steering the car. And so on that aspect, it's the type of car that, from a suspension standpoint, from a steering standpoint, it's super comfortable, so you could drive it on a daily basis and you don't feel like you're working yourself out or anything like that. It's just that kind of like soothing, it gives you kind of like a soothing experience. Now we're gonna get a little bit of an acceleration here with the 2.5 liter. Yeah, and it's actually decently quick. I wasn't expecting this car to be super, super quick, just because it's kind of like more of a fuel economy based car, but in terms of acceleration, it's more than adequate. It's decently quick. To sum things up, what I think overall impression wise on the Altima is, I think this is a great value, especially with all the safety tech that this car has. I touched base with a lot of it, like the adaptive cruise control, the blind spot monitoring, and the lane departure assistance, and the fact that it does the steering for you when you're on the highway, and the adaptive cruise control function. So it just has so much safety tech. And then the fact that they also add this all-wheel drive system to it, so you can drive it in all sorts of weather conditions, it's a super great value. So if you are in the market for a car and you do need all-wheel drive, which a lot of people here in Utah do, definitely check out one of these Altimas before you make a purchase. And there we have it, everyone, the 2019 Nissan Altima with the all-wheel drive system. And again, thank you everyone so much for watching, and like I said, a big shout out and thank you to Tim Daly Nissan in Murray for providing us with the vehicle. If you are on the market, again, like I said, definitely check these guys out. They will hook you up. But if you are stopping in for the first time, please subscribe, comment down below what you thought, and then I will see all of you in that next